Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What is good, internet peoples, nomads, major nomad here, and wow, we got a bit of a lot of content of disaster and woke culture and all the movie and game propaganda that has recently come forward that we have to address, and got to give my takes and 2 cents on this. It is goes to show you the saying does exist: go woke, go broke, and you half-ass and make up lazy content and whatnot, it's not going to go well for you and your budget, because that's going to be a big, colossal waste of funds. But they don't really learn that. They rather take the short-term, short cash over the long-term success, and long cash is what I call it. We have a lot to address and unpack. Buckle up. It's time to unpack the train wreck. Alright, first on the list. EA cancels Black Panther and game closes studio developing it. Isn't that quite interesting? It's about, from what this tells me, it's about saving face and no one's buying it. Also, Sweet Baby Inc. ex-dev spills the tea and suddenly woke starts looking a lot broke too. And you'll see what I mean by that in a second, but let's get into this one, shall we? EA is canceling its Black Panther game and closing the studio creating it. Cliff Game Hangers, as part of the larger round of layoffs at the company. IGN reports the third-person action adventure game was originally announced in July 2023 as one of the several Marvel projects being developed at EA Studios. IGN writes that a smaller number of people are being laid off than the previous round of cuts. Gee, I wonder why. The impact of a Titanfall developer Respawn, but EA is still implementing roles outside of the cliffhanger, including people on the publisher's mobile and central teams. EA is reportedly telling staff that the layoffs are a way to sharpen out focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. Basically, in my opinion, it's telling them, oh yeah, we just had to get cutbacks and we're cutting you guys off because the money's kind of not rolling in due to our bad decisions, so we're just going to fire you and try to get on more people to help us out with better ideas, because we suck at giving out really good ideas and coming up with good games anymore, because we're still trying to go with this woke culture. That another reason why, let's keep it a stack, people voted on the previous current election to kick out a lot of that BS propaganda that we've been having to deal with for the past couple years and whatnot. But people don't understand. They don't want that stuff no more, as I've been saying. But to the point, besides the point, as of right now, those opportunities include an Iron Man game in the development at EA Motive, the next Star Wars Jedi game from Respawn. Because that Star Wars franchise has been really working out lately, hasn't it? Me and others would disagree on that, but to the point, and new entries in a few key franchises like The Sims, Battlefield, Skate, and Apex Legends. Beyond that, the company has EA Sports, and the next Mass Effect game through BioWare has gone through multiple rounds of layoffs since 2023. I can only imagine why. So there's uncertainty there, that too, in a similar way to how it approached BioWare's reconstruction. IGN reports that EA is trying to find roles for at least some cliffhanger game staff in other parts of the company. Engadget has contacted EA for comment and will update this article if we hear back. EA is growing this interest in licensed games, has been public since at least February 2024, when CEO Andrew Wilson announced that the company was moving away from development of future licensed IP that we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry. The company recently announced a new strategy game using the Star Wars license. Oh man, it's gonna be another little cheap cash grab, huh? Star Wars Zero Company, but that seems more like an outlier than the norm. Yeah, no kidding. EA's Black Panther game wasn't the only project featuring the character. Amy Hennig's Marvel's 1994 3 Rise of Hydra, not too familiar with that, has been canceled yet, but it does seem strange the company gives up so easily. Black Panther made over 1.3 billion during its original run in theaters, and it seems entirely possible that the same audience that enjoyed the movie would show up for a new game featuring their favorite Marvel character. Yeah, well, that kind of depends. I mean, look at Marvel Rivals. They did him justice. Good cosmetics, gameplay, and whatnot. I think they did him right. I'm not too fond of his main special or ultimate move, but still, not too bad, all things considered. But like I said, the cosmetics and whatnot have really done them justice. That's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. You know, it goes to show you, like I said, Marvel Rivals, the NetEase, the creators, the developers, know how to do an icon like Black Panther his justice. Good gameplay, the mechanics, the likeness and the cosmetics and whatnot. They really did well. You can't argue that. And, you know, it goes to show you, me and many other gamers have also definitely wanted a Black Panther game. Black Panther definitely deserved the throne in the gaming community, not focus-tested soapbox that crumbled under its own ego. Woke devs teams just keep learning the hard way. If you choose and chase trends, you lose players every single time. But it is what it is. And now, Nomads, the real reason why we're not going to be getting a cool Black Panther game anytime soon, especially with this type of nonsense going around in the development team and whatnot. As you can see right here, you're going to hear from this person herself. She's going to basically spill the teas indirectly, and suddenly Woke starts looking a lot more broke now. Funny how when the game gets canned, the diversity narratives team vanishes like it was never canon. Let's listen to this, shall we, and hear it from her.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something made it okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love. I have a team of 21 right now.
Okay, you're not saying that, but you just indirectly said it right there. And that is quite the negative mindset too, you know? Really alienating yourself from people and indirectly being, how do I put it, passive-aggressive, racist and negative towards people that you could have definitely hired to help you work on a really good game. But just because you got that woke programming in you, it really messed with your head, and the college indoctrinating you probably has put that negative mindset on you. And girl, that's not a way to make things get better in life. We should all be together and freaking teamed up and not split apart, because the world is healing every day, and when you just alienate yourself and push people away and whatnot, that's no way to go about making a better society and whatnot. But I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna get into a whole thing of that, but hey, maybe a message for her, because I still wish her the best, but maybe next time worry less about preaching and more into coding and programming a good game and helping developers and whatnot come up with a very iconic game if possible. That would best advice I could give anybody right there. But look at this. This is their little hire they got. He would call it Smash JT. Does this look like a DAI hire? Okay, let's see her recent jobs before then. Receptionist, Little Kitty's Daycare Center, part-time. From Chicago, Illinois. Hey, that's where I'm from too. We got that in common. Narrative writer, Soft Net Week, part-time. Act as a champion of the story, script, and speech for product. As the central resource for all things narrative related, as well as write content and edit copy. Okay. Narrative designer, Sweet Baby Inc. That's one of the things that really stick out. Big red flag there. You know that cult freaking company with Kim Belair at the helm is really not helping people really get along. She's got a very negative mindset, and she is a very toxic person in general. Other peoples have exposed her on this as well. So that's where Danielle over here definitely gets that mindset from. Not a good idea. Imagine if it was the other way around, reversed. People are not going to want to touch you with a 10-foot pole or be anywhere near you. Hell, that's putting it mildly too, to be honest. I wouldn't want to be around either of that nonsense. Associate narrative team designer, Cliffhanger Games, full-time. Well, now she just got the boot because of that. But like I said before, I still wish her the best and good luck to her future endeavors, and maybe she'll see the light and change that mindset, because yeah, that mindset isn't going to be putting food on your table. It's just going to alienate you and make people not want to be anywhere around you, like I just said. But Nomads, let me get your 2 cents and thoughts on that one. Alright, now Nomads, let's also get into this one. Let's talk about this so-called Fantastic Four reboot, and I'm using the term fantastic real loosely here, because what we got, as you're going to see, was anything but, once again, Marvel, or should I say Disney committee of corporate suits has just taken one of the most iconic teams in comic book history and churned it out and blended soulless cinematic casserole of mediocrity. And
welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7, on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming?
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay. Okay, is this guy good or what?
I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip, okay?
that's the thing they picked. Okay, I'm gonna critique that later, but the thing in the old Fantastic Four movie had a bit more pizzazz and personality than this thing. I'm just gonna be honest right there, but let's get more into this.
-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
This Johnny looks like freaking Ken from the Barbie movie. I wonder if that's who they casted or had the idea to cast for Johnny. I was expecting more of that pretty boy, playboy type dirt bike rider style like the last Johnny in Fantastic Four, but
Fire.
I digress.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together. As a family.
Wow. Okay. Okay, now for my critiques. you know, the people they chose for casting. Look, I get Pedro Pascal being an idea for Mr. Fantastic, and it looks like, if anything, he could be a decent candidate to pull off Mr. Fantastic, but a lot of people are kind of not a little too happy with him because he's been kind of ranting about people not liking him in this movie because, you know, it put a bad taste in people's mouth when he finished off playing Joe in The Last of Us 2 because of that fiasco, and Naughty Dog, well, Neil Druckmann, more or less, freaking killing off an iconic character in a not so good way. And hey, I understand Savage back then and whatnot, they could have went at it a better way, but that way you pretty much were telling people to, you know, F off, and it's not cool to be a badass, which, yeah, keep telling yourself that, Neil, keep telling yourself that. Let's touch on Susan Storm, aka Invisible Woman, aka Jennifer Gardner. Now, some would say she probably wouldn't be that good of a candidate to play an Invisible Woman and doing her justice and whatnot. I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I'm a little bit in the middle. No offense to her. You gotta make your bag, and if you're gonna follow the source material and try to do her justice, much props and respect to her for that. But I'm not too sure about the look and about this dynamic with her. I'm gonna give her a little bit kind of the benefit of the doubt, but, you know, we'll see the finished product when it comes, if she does her good, and if she doesn't make her stale and boring and, you know, kind of meh is a proper way to put it. But over here, who do I got a critique for this guy? Johnny Storm, more like Johnny Lukewarm, and, you know, he definitely looked like the guy who played Ken from Barbie, or he could have done a better job, because he also looks like the guy, you know, who played Shaggy, or no, Fred in the Scooby-Doo movies. And, you know, no offense to this guy either. I don't have hate on that. I don't really believe in that. Don't like hating on people that done none to me, or is a really unpopular, nasty person or whatnot, but yeah, they could have done a little bit better with Johnny Storm. Like in the old Fantastic movie, they captured him really well. And in Marvel Rivals too, besides the point, I know, but they did him well in that one too. I just don't think he fits the character that well. And his look too. His look doesn't look as bad boy, pretty boy type of thing, if you know where I'm going with this, because, yeah, no. Sorry. It doesn't work for me, and I'm sure others agree with that sentiment as well. Let's keep it a stack. Now for the thing. Like I said, he definitely doesn't capture the personality of the original character so far from what I just saw right there. And the CGI looks like, or looked like, leftover rocks from a 2005 Xbox cutscene from a game. You're telling me this is the Marvel's first team? I've seen more family unity in a Denny's parking lot fight. I mean, come on, who agrees with that sentiment? Let's keep it a stack. I swear, too, at this point, I'd rather be watching the 1994 unreleased version. At least that one had the excuse of being made on a shoestring budget, if you will. This is no excuse with modern technology, cameras, and the beautiful things we have today. I know this ain't much of an excuse for that. It's time Marvel started respecting the legacy, or maybe they should just leave the 4 alone until someone actually understands what the hell made them fantastic in the first place. You know, don't bother if you're gonna just be cheap about it, my 2 cents. And now let's talk about the cherry on top of this flaming dumpster pie, the female Silver Surfer. Now, before that, I was gonna say, one thing I could be nice and give credit for, it looks like they made Mr. Galactic cool, and even though this is kind of like a teaser of him, they did more justice for Mr. Galactic, so that's something. But the straw that broke the camel's back, the female Silver Surfer. Now, You heard it right, they gender swapped Norrin Reed, as you see. One of the most iconic, cosmic, emotional, tortured characters in the Marvel history, and turned into yet another checkbox. Look, this isn't about, I'm gonna get this nonsense in the chat or the comments, I'm sure. This isn't about hating women in superhero roles. Don't even get me started with that nonsense. There's a lot of freaking baddies and really good freaking female superheroes that devs, creators, writers, and whatnot actually do right and respect the source material. But this is a big smack to the source material, if you want to know the truth. A tragic hero sacrificed everything to save his world and cursed to wander the cosmos as Galactus Herald. He's Shakespeare in space, so to speak. The character is deep, iconic, legendary, and instead of doing that justice, Marvel looked at the legacy and said, nah, let's remix it for the headlines and the woke views and that freaking clown circus. Freaking, awful. They're not building new stories here, they're just reskinning old ones and somehow thinking that makes it fresh. Spoiler, me and others agree it doesn't, okay? It just makes it lazy, and you got decades of storytelling, and instead of honoring that, you slap on a cosmetic change and pretend it's progress. Newsflash. People on Twitter and whatnot are roasting this as we speak, and you pretend it's progress. Newsflash. Representing without writing is just cosplay without budget. You want a female Herald of Galactus? Great. Here's a really good idea. Use Frankie Ray. She already exists and she's a badass. She's a freaking fire themed. She's legit part of the Marvel lore, but no, that would take effort and creativity on their part. Instead, they threw Norrin Reed into a blender with diversity quota sticky notes on top of that, changing a character like Silversurfer just for optics. Tells me one thing here, and do let me know if you agree with this, chat nomads. They don't understand who he is, or worse, they don't care. It's adaptation, it's identity theft. Am I right? Or am I wrong? That's for others to also decide and interpret it. But from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are kind of agreeing with my view that this was in kind of lazy, poor taste. And another quick little take on this, my mindset. Marvel had a Ferrari and replaced the engine with a Prius, it seems like, for Twitter and woke points. They ignored 60 years of lore for a headline and hashtag. We had Frankie Rain right there. They had source material to go on, was right there, but nah, let's rewrite Norse instead. Like, come on. Big mistake for them on that one, but definitely let me get your 2 cents and thoughts on that one, nomads. Quick little thing I forgot to add. They were gonna add, apparently there's a lot of rumors and speculation that Doctor Doom's gonna be in this. This is like their thing. If they actually bring this Doctor Doom into this and freaking give him this look, wow. Really cutting corners on that one if they actually do come up with that. For a look you would expect better from Marvel itself with, well, Disney and Marvel with their budget, but Disney for a while doesn't know how to freaking run a good Marvel movie to save its life, except for maybe a few exceptions, but they've been kind of fumbling and folding the bag, as they say, and I'm sure others know now. Quick little thing about Frankie Rain. Here's the source material they could have gone with. It's right there. Nova Frankie Rain is a character appearing in the American comic books published by Marvel Comics, created by Roy Thomas and artist George Perez. Shout out to them. The character first appeared in Fantastic Four, issue 164, November 1975. Frankie Rain was portrayed by Brew Garrett in the 27 film Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yeah, the character, that was a good movie, by the way. Trust me, they did it way better. The character first appeared as Frankie Rain in Fantastic Four 164, November 1975, and was created by writer Catherine Eman and artist Tonic Aschik. I kind of butchered the name, apologize for that, but some of these names I can have a little bit of trouble saying. They're very unique. Revived Frankie Rain in the Herald's Limited series in 2010. Fictional character biography. I'm going to get into this and wrap this up quick to get this rant out the way and critique. While working for the United Nations as an interpreter, Frankie Rain meets Johnny Storm and becomes his girlfriend. That could have been a little something to go with, to switch up the new remake or whatever of the movie. I'm sure a lot of people would like that. Despite her fear of fire, the couple soon breaks up, despite an attempt at reconciliation by Johnny. That's what I'm talking about. Playboy, bad boy Johnny. A brief encounter by the two some time later results in an unpleasant reaction by Frankie. They eventually begin to see each other again. Her fear is eventually explained to be the result of a mental block introduced by her stepfather, Phoenix Horton, after she was accidentally dosed with chemicals which caused the android original Human Torch, his creation, to burst into flames in an attempt to prevent her from using the torch powers granted to her by the accident. After breaking through the block, she regains her full memory and discovers her previous repressed superpowers. She aids the Fantastic Four for a short time until she volunteers to become the new Herald of Galacticus. She takes the name Nova, having previously demonstrated with the Fantastic Four deemed an alarming willingness to kill opponents. She claims to have no compunction after about leading him to sentient populated planets, and proves that when she learns to devour of the worlds to the Skrull home world to consume it. Nova later attends the trial of Reed Richards by the Sheer Empire. When Richard Rider resumes his Nova identity alongside the New Warriors, he is briefly called Kid Nova to distinguish him from Ray. Now, they could have done something right then and there. That is an interesting story to follow up on, even if they turned it around a little bit and squeezed some of that lore in the movie. They could have done that, my 2 cents. And let me know what you guys think about that one, if that could have been a very good potential little cameo for her to be back in the Marvel series through that way. It'd be cool to see her in Marvel Rivals. I would like to see that. I know we got Johnny Storm, but still an interesting idea. Let me know what your 2 cents on that one. But wait, there's more. We got more to unpack. This is the last on the agendas list for today. So apparently, just recently, Ubisoft just announced they've been assembling a transfer team to help with the certain messes and L's and freaking trash content they came up with the last couple of games in both the Assassin's Creed and the Far Cry. Now, for Far Cry 5, that's an understatement. I didn't really like it too much. Playable, yes, but it was kind of just lazy and thrown together. When they remade a new one in the Far Cry 6, that wasn't too bad. I gotta give credit. It was different, unique, had a lot of different potential of both 4 and, say, the 3 series kind of blended in together, but they could have done a little bit better there. But still, all together with the 2 different character options, it wasn't too bad. I'll be fair on that one. So in regards to the assembling the Transform team, and if that doesn't sound like something out of a Power Rangers corporate crisis, you're not alone. Apparently, they finally have noticed that the ship is on fire after it hit the freaking iceberg of despair, sank, and someone on the ocean floor asked, "Hey, is everything okay up there?" Now, let's be fucking for real. Ubisoft has and needed a freaking transformation team. They need a freaking exorcism to clean up this mess, a complete spiritual cleansing, a hard reset for years. They've been stuck in this loop of copy and paste world, towers on the map, bloatware disguised as gameplay, and now they want to act like this is a magical new team that's gonna fix it all. I mean, didn't they already say they were transforming like 5 times in the past decade? True or false? It's like hearing your toxic ex say, "Oh no, babe, I've changed. I'm all different now." And then, lo and behold, they're back to their same old toxic behaviors and red flag behavior that needs to be cut out of your life completely. Let's keep it a stack. It's just another renamed microtransactions again, most likely. My 2 cents. And here's the kicker. They're not even too clear on what the team is doing right now, and they are changing game design, monetization, studio culture, or are they just rebranding crunch and layoffs with corporate buzzwords like agile Zenergy, workflows, and player-forward innovation loops? Because that's what it smells like to me, and I don't need transformation team to tell me this industry is favorite cologne is deception by Q4 earnings. The team at Ubisoft seems to be really panicking now, is like DJ realizing the party is dead after 40 straight songs nobody asked for. Gamers like myself and others have been begging for innovation, passion, fun, and Ubisoft keeps serving up sandbox spaghetti with a side of live service loot. If the team isn't made up of actual game devs who loves games more than the shareholder meetings, then it's just another smoke and mirrors, if I'm gonna be honest. But let's break this down. Ubisoft assembles a new transformation committee to help Assassin's Creed studio find a new lease on life. Amid of the following reputation and stock price, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot has reportedly moved to assemble a transformation committee whose main goal it will be both guide of evolution the Assassin's Creed studio and help them find a new lease on life. Is that right? You know, when it comes to a lot of these devs coming out with this BS and, you know, the journals and that defending it and bashing gamers and whatnot, no one takes them seriously and no one wants to trust them because they've been shown to go untrustworthy. And you got a lot of people like me, other game reviewers, newsbreakers, and streamers playing and breaking down the game and saying a lot they don't have such a fun experience, so why hear it from them when you could hear our 2 cents on it? Because we'd be better off at trying to give you better game investments and ideas and say if a game is worth it or whatnot. But I digress. Related to the born from creators boredom at Ubisoft, Clear Obscure Expedition 33 hits $2 million sales and doubles Assassin's Creed Shadows Steam player peak. Kind of impressive, I'll give them that. Per an Intel Ubisoft email reviewed by French news broadcaster BFM Tech & Co. Nathan Kokmopot. Interesting name. The 10-person committee, as handpicked by CEO Yves Guillemot, will spend the next 100 days formulating the best ways to help the studio recover from their recent string of failures and chart a new direction for their future operations. We have just passed a monumental moment in Ubisoft history, which, strengthened by this agreement and the success of the Assassin's Creed Shadows, will benefit from a new lease in life. Wrote Guillemot has, per a machine translation of the company-wide email provided by DeepL, the future ahead demands a new energy and passion for the games that corresponds to the current moment. 3 pirates talk in front of impressive ships at Harbor, Skulls and Bones. Oh, that game was a disaster too. It was really just cheaped and slapped on. Notable, one of the committee members is none other than Yves Guillemot's son, Charlie Guillemot, who will co-lead the group alongside Ubisoft Chief Studios and Portfolio Officer Marie-Sophie de Wolbert. I'm butchering a little bit of these names, but I don't get to say these a lot, so excuse me there. But these people, really interesting names over at their studios, I'll give them that. Having previously served as studio manager for Ubisoft's subsidiary host developer Elliot Charlie, excited for company in 2021 after his decision to approve a association of Black Lives Matter imagery with the villainous Umbra faction in Tom Clancy's Elite Squad drew massive blowback from the general public. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Ubisoft, I agree. I don't think that one's gonna turn out too well, but hey, I'm just a gamer, gaming journal, independent gaming journal and reviewer and that myself. What do I know, right? Yeah, well, my 2 cents. This has been a long time coming from Ubisoft, and yeah, they really need to get better people to give them advice. Hell, in my opinion, if they can't find anybody or they're too lazy to find somebody that could give them better ideas on what works and what's good for business, you're better off just using AI to help you find better writers, consultants, even though I don't think you really need consultants, or if you do, consultants that know certain games and the gaming culture way better than what they're doing right now, because yeah, Ubisoft do better. This is general. After all of this, I know I said my jokes, critiques, and whatnot, but general concern and genuine freaking constructive criticism. Listen to the gamers. Listen to the community that buys your stuff. Trust me. It will work out better for you and everyone involved, so everybody wins. We get good content we paid for, and you're happy because of the people that invest in the content that you produced. All I gotta say here, if you like this video, don't forget check out my other stuff in my socials, my link tree, like and subscribe, and have a good one all, nomads. Peace.